tusimame pamoja kulinda uhuru na umoja wetu. Enyi Bwana na binti wa Afrika, mwili wa jua, mwili wa anga, tuifanye Afrika mti wa uzima. Tuungane sote tuimbe pamoja, kuenzi shikamano hatima yetu. Tujitoe wenyewe kupambana pamoja, uhuru na umoja vitawale. Enyi Bwana na binti wa Afrika, mwili wa jua, mwili wa anga, tuifanye Afrika mti wa uzima. Tuungane sote na tujibidishe kutoa kilicho bora kwa Afrika, chimbuko la wanadamu, chemchemi ya utamaduni, tumaini letu wakati wa mafarakano. Enyi Bwana na binti wa Afrika, mwili wa jua, mwili wa anga, tuifanye Afrika mti wa uzima.
We talk about Sao Tome and Principe, one of the most democratic countries in Africa. Very small country, but one of the very best in terms of democracy in Africa is a small country called Sao Tome and Principe. So when you talk about good cases, let us have a look at Sao Tome and Principe. And of course, my name is Katom Kasa for Human CV Africa, and Dennis Bongole in the studio to do the production. Human CV Africa is a network that brings you information that you don't normally get elsewhere. We intend to empower you with information, with knowledge that you can use to invest in Africa, for example, that you can use to empower people in Africa, that you can actually use to empower yourselves as the people in Africa. When you know your place, when you know your country, when you know your world, you are able to change it for the better. Today, it's country profiles, and we're going to be talking about Sao Tome and Principe, a country that was occupied by the Portuguese from the 15th century. They began taking their convicts, criminals could be taken to Sao Tome and Principe. From the 15th century, Portuguese could get these criminals, take them there, but also make it as a base of slaves. They could get slaves right from there. There were some black people right there, found in the 15th century, but many of the people which came to be part of Sao Tome were brought there by the Portuguese as slaves. Let us talk about this wonderful country, a small island, if you may say. It is Sao Tome, and of course that is a Portuguese colony. That was a colony, became independent in 1975. We look at the map, and we look at the statistics, and we look at the history of this beautiful country, Sao Tome. I told you that Sao Tome is it consists of two archipelagos around the two main islands of Sao Tome and Principe, about 150 kilometers apart, and about 250 to 225 kilometers of the northwestern coast of Gabon, with a population of 200 and 1,800 people by 2018. Sao Tome is the second smallest country, second least populated country in Africa, following Cyprus. It's the second one. When we talk about small countries in Africa, Sao Tome gets number 2. The number 1, of course, is Cyprus when it comes to smallest population and, of course, smallest countries in Africa. It is also the smallest Roman-speaking country outside Europe. It's the smallest country there. It is inhabited. It was discovered by the Portuguese in 1470. Look at the map here, map of Africa. Let us look at the map of Africa right here. Map of Africa right there. We look at the map of Africa right there, and we see Sao Tome, you see, it's a bit off the grid of the rest of Africa. You see, where the continent of Africa ends at the coast. Talk about the Southern Atlantic Ocean, and then you are going to be talking about Sao Tome right there, not within the main grid of Africa, but a bit outside it. You see the map right there? That is Sao Tome. Now let us look at again this map, the Atlantic Ocean. Then we are going to see Sao Tome right there. These are two islands that form this country, and of course we see Sao Tome as the capital right there in the star. We see neighbors very far away: Togo, Cameroon, Gabon, a bit far away, Equatorial Guinea, a bit far away, because this country is within the ocean and these others are just outside it. Now, this is Sao Tome. Briefly, you can see Africa right there, the map, but besides Africa, the map, you are seeing Sao Tome and Príncipe, Sao Tome and Príncipe, and of course, we see in the Atlantic Ocean. We see it in the Atlantic Ocean, and that is Sao Tome and Príncipe. We see other cities right there: Santa Ana, Formoso, Ponta do Roro, Santa Cruz, Sao Tome, Neves, Santa Catarina, Porto Alegre, and Rio do Janeiro. These are Portuguese names. Remember, Sao Tome was discovered by the Portuguese in 1417. We talk about the 15th century. The year is 1470 when the Portuguese discover this area, this place called Sao Tome. Now look at this map. Shows you briefly now the bigger picture of Sao Tome. How does it look like? Indian Ocean and of course Atlantic Ocean. The Atlantic Ocean right there, and we has two islands. One is Príncipe, another one is Sao Tome. This is the right picture of what is in Sao Tome. You see the areas right there in Sao Tome, and then you see what is in Príncipe. Now the two form one country. The two form one country, and that country is called Sao Tome. That country is called Sao Tome. Now, when you look at this country, there and 13 are non-religious. That's lovely. 13 are non-religious in Sao Tome, and of course, we see the government is a unitary semi-presidential republic, and the president today is called Carlos Villanova. The prime minister is called Patrice Trovoada. And of course, they have an assembly, call it a parliament. They were independent from the Portuguese on the 12th day of July 1975. Total area of Sao Tome is 964 square kilometers, which is 372 square miles. That is Sao Tome, and I'm giving more facts about this country. Very beautiful country. The most well organized democratically, one of the best organized countries in Africa is a small country called Sao Tome and Príncipe. Now compare it with the others we mentioned just of recent. Compare it with Comoros, and it's a big difference. Comoros and Sao Tome, the opposite of each other. Now, population in Sao Tome is only 220,000 people. 220,000 people. Very small population right there. The death is quite high at 199 people per kilometer right there. And of course, GDP is $962 million per capita, is $4,146. So Tome is a developing country, but it's doing well. If you compare it with other countries like Comoros, it's doing well. Population right there is much more clearer, 227,000 people, the recent population right there. And of course, per capita, population per capita, 236 people right there. Life expectancy is 65 years. Life expectancy for females is, of course, 70. Male is 65, female 70. Birth rate is quite high at 28%. Right there, death rate is only 6% right there, and male to female ratio is 50 to 49 to 50. There are more females here, a little more, 50 to 49. In terms of climate, Sao Tome is like all other equatorial countries, it's having a tropical climate. And of course, the climate is a bit good. The daylight right there, the hours may vary, the temperatures may vary in summer and winter. And of course, it's a lovely, lovely country. Temperatures range between 27 to 30 degrees in some parts of the country, and temperatures can also rise to 31 degrees right there. And of course, there are cold months depending on the region. Sometimes the temperature can drop to 20 degrees. Yes, centigrade in a month is average. That is it. Now, in terms of languages, what are the main languages in Sao Tome and Príncipe? The official language, of course, is Portuguese. Remember, the Portuguese covered them, occupied them from the 1470. That was the 15th century. The Portuguese were there, and of course, it is the official language. But look at how the languages are spoken in this country. Follow a language called Foro. Foro is spoken by 36%, Portuguese by only 34%, which means Foro is the widely spoken language in Sao Tome. The language is called Foro. And of course, we see another language called Cape Verdean, having about 8.5. That's French, 6.8. They also speak Angora. They speak a bit of English, Ringwe, and other languages. But we see two languages, Foro, the biggest, and Portuguese competing right there in terms of languages in Sao Tome and Príncipe. The economy, I told you, the economy is quite doing well at $542 million. If you given the population of the economy, this country is doing well. Exportation is 97. Remember, Sao Tome does not have minerals. I repeat it, Sao Tome does not have minerals. Sao Tome simply depends on agriculture. Importation is about 219. They are importing more than they export, which is a bit of a challenge. But tourism gives them $30 million a year. And debt rate is a bit high at 58 of their GDP. Debt rate is a bit high at 58% of their GDP. Unemployment is at 15%, and inflation rate is high at 18%. Corruption index is bad at 45. Yes, and of course, energy consumption is at 78 million kilowatts there. That is their energy consumption. But in terms of democracy, it has been ranked as one of the best democratically governed countries in Africa. They bring in Sao Tome and Principe. Let us look at other facts about this country. It is its highest mountain is called Pico Sao Tome. Yes, it has the highest mountain right there. Now, urban use, land use, in terms of land use, 70% is urban area, 68 kilometers. And of course, agriculture takes 51% of the land, which covers 487 square kilometers. And of course, forests cover a lot of land, which is 54% is covered by the forests. In terms of transport, they have roadways, which covers about 1,700 kilometers. And of course, registered vehicles are only 34,400 registered vehicles right there. In terms of politics, I told you, this country is ranked fairly than many other countries in Africa. It is one of the best democratically governed countries in Africa. It is ranked number 5. And of course, they have abolished the death penalty in 1990. There's no death penalty in Sao Tome and Principe. And of course, it is part of the following alliances. It's part of COMESA, which is Community of Sahel States. It's part of African Union. It is part of Non-Aligned Movement. It is part of G7 plus group of fragile states, and of course, Latin Union and the UN, or call it United Nations, and is of course part of UNESCO. You see how it is allied with other countries. Now, the capital city I told you is Sao Tome. Such a beautiful capital city. I'm going to be showing you some of the images of this country. The rural area is full of beaches. Remember, this is a country within the ocean. Of course, they do agriculture. They have bananas. Yes, Sao Tome, you will find bananas in Sao Tome. You eat bananas right there. It's a beautiful country, a small country, very, very beautiful, occupied by the Portuguese from 1470. They only got their independence in 1975. That's when they got their independence. And of course, It is one of the best governed countries in the world. 56. It is ranked number 56 among the electoral democracy worldwide. It's also ranked number 5 among the better electoral democracy in Africa. It's ranked number 5. It's within the medium human development index in terms of the economy, not doing so badly. There, it's history. I told you, the Portuguese began taking their slaves, and of course, convicts, criminals could be taken there from Portugal to be put into sugarcane plantation. Remember, there was slavery. During slavery, I'm showing images that are so old. During slavery, in 1400s, the Portuguese would take convicts, criminals from Portugal, could be taken to this island called Sao Tome and Príncipe. They could be forced to cultivate sugarcane. It was the Portuguese that introduced slavery on this island. And of course, slavery was to be there for a long time. Slavery was to be there for a long, long time until it was abolished, until when it was abolished. But slavery continued on this beautiful island of Sao Tome. Throughout the 16th century to the 17th century, there was slavery on this beautiful place called Sao Tome. And of course, it's a beautiful place, beautiful country, beautiful people right there. Sao Tome, it's a nice place to visit. It has all those beautiful beaches and all those economic activities going on. It's normally an agriculture country. There are no minerals in Sao Tome, I should tell you. There are no minerals to talk about, but the country is basically agriculture. It has a history of slavery that the Portuguese are known to have carried it out right there, forcing people into cultivation of sugarcane and others. The president today is a man called Vila Nova, came into power in 2015 and has been there elected, assumed office. No, assumed office in 2021, but of course I've been a politician before that. But assumed power on 2nd October 2021. He was born on July 27th, 1959. That is the man Carlos Manuel Vila Nova. Remember, these people, a mixture of Portuguese blood and African blood, or black people blood. So it's a mixture of Portuguese and then people of black ancestry. So these are mixed people. These are mulattoes in Sao Tome and Príncipe. You hear black people right there, but there are very few in the 1400s. So the Portuguese took their Portuguese convicts, the way you see Australia today, the way you see Australia where the British could take their convicts. This is what happened in Sao Tome. They were taking their convicts, prisoners. Now, this is the presidential palace of Sao Tome. This is where the president stays, Nova, and the family stays there. Of course, for now, they have been in office since 2021. And of course, they are having some good time right there, managing the city, managing the country. It's a small country, of course, but well managed, well managed. I normally talk about good cases from Africa, and Sao Tome is one of them. Very small country, but well managed. It may have some bit of corruption, of course, we have seen that. But in terms of democracy, Sao Tome has not had unrest. We talked about Comoros, and we saw how many coups have happened in Comoros. 20 coups since independence. In Sao Tome, no disturbance. It has been a smoothly managed country. That's why we give them credit. It is ranked number 5 in terms of countries well managed in Africa, ranked number 5, and ranked number 188 of the countries well managed in the world. So Sao Tome is a good example. No means talk about, but people are living a fairly good life with no minerals. They are simply own agriculture. What they have is clay and sand, if you're talking about minerals. But the country survives. And the country has been largely peaceful. It's one thing I'm taking away today. I'm giving you as a takeaway today. It's a country known for their music and culture. They love their music, culture, and dances and all that. Beautiful people, good people of Sao Tome, and it's a good place to visit if you want to go and check it out. Thank you so much for watching. This is Smart TV Africa, and we want to encourage you to please subscribe and join the team. Share, like, comment, and please tune in for the next show. See you in the next one.